Is the Nvidia rally real? I think a lot of people are wondering because the rally is now $769 billion. It started with $420 billion in 4 days, and then it just kept going. The stock is now back above a $3 trillion market cap as well. Whoa! So I'm starting to wonder, why is Nvidia's boss the Taylor Swift of tech? He had a meeting with Mark Zuckerberg. He sat down and discussed. This was about 2 weeks ago, and they talked about the future of graphics and virtual worlds at SIGGRAPH 2024. And this really lays the foundation for what they're going to talk about on earnings in about 2 weeks. But investors are not waiting. They're buying first and asking questions later. Amazon, 4%. Nvidia, 4%. Look at the last week. Almost everything is up. Google's got some company issues, but otherwise, man, it's a sea of green out there. And we've now rallied from 23 all the way to 33 for fear and greed, which is a bull signal. Why? Well, because when we go down to extreme fear and exit extreme fear, we normally go back up. Oh, so we could actually rally dramatically from here. Yes. We're also going to go through some notes for the S&P and for QQQ. You can see them right here. Just wait and we'll go back through these at the end of the show. But what's really important is that a lot of ETFs and key charts, just like Nvidia, are now back above their 50 DMA. But it's only been 1 day. So if they can hold into tomorrow, things are starting to look a lot better. There's still a few more ETFs to join the party, but it's looking pretty good. But let's talk about this first. On August 6th, Goldman Sachs said, if the S&P dips 5%, you usually want to buy that one. Well, we dropped by 9.5%, and then we went straight back up. Oh, here's an article from August 15th. Goldman's buyback desk flooded with record orders during stock swoon. What does that mean? Share buybacks with 2.1 on average higher than last year. Whoa. A buyback spree occurred with Bank of Americorp's corporate clients whose share repurchases picked up speed and stayed above a seasonal levels of 22 weeks in a row. Whoa. These guys seem like really bullish. Yes, they do. They seem like really bullish. Also, Morgan Stanley's Wilson sees few signs of a bear market in stocks. What does he think we're going to do? We're going to go sideways. And we kind of agree because right now we have our annual green light, but we're now in a monthly yellow light, which means we're waiting on direction. But we got clues. So we can go through here and analyze Mike Wilson a little bit later in the week. But he basically thinks we're going to go back down to 5,000 and we're kind of topping out here. That's what he thinks. And then finally, this is the one I'm really excited about. Earnings growth in U.S. finally showing up outside of the tech mega caps. Nice. Bloomberg Intelligence data shows S&P 500 earnings ex Mag 7 set to grow by 7.4% in the second quarter. So why does this matter? Well, it matters because of one reason: the improved outlook. Remember, stocks are a future discount mechanism. So if overall executives expressed optimism for future earnings, with Bloomberg Intelligence's data trending positive for the third quarter. In fact, the gauge of earnings guidance momentum, derived in part from the ratio of increase versus reduced guidance, is expected to be positive in the July to September period for the first time since 2021. Oh my goodness. Are executives finally bullish? Is the rest of the stock market going to actually go up? Well, it looks like we will here. So again, excluding the Mag 7, where are we here? Excluding Mag 7, that's the yellow line. Yes, we're taking liftoff here. We're going to positive gains. And this is important because this is what feeds GDP. This now got revised down from 2.9 to 2.4, but we're only halfway through the quarter and it's still positive. So what is that? I'm positive. We also had some earnings rounding out here with Cisco, Walmart, and one other one. What happened? Walmart's up. Big move today. On a 1 day, Walmart is up by 6.5%. In the last week, it's up by 8%. Whoa. Looking at Home Depot, that's the other one. Home Depot rallied on earnings too. Those are two really good bellwethers for the economy. And then Cisco, a dog, right? It's up by 6.8% on the day. And this is a stock that's done nothing in the last year, right? Down, 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 down. They actually guided up. The stock is optimistic on the future. Whoa. We can also note here that good data is being interpreted as good. That's what PPI and CPI did. If you remember, that's exactly what I talked about before I left later this week. What's really important to note is that a lot of stocks have stopped going down and now they're starting to go back up. So just before we go further, I'm going to ask you for a huge favor. If you could please consider smashing that thumbs up and subscribing to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. So we're going to get to the last part of the show here in a moment, but This 50 DMA is like really important for a lot of stocks. We'll touch on that in 1 second. Just a few more headlines to get through because, frankly, I've been away for a long time. Core retail sales were the reason why stocks went up today with an extra boost. U.S. retail sales beat forecast, defying calls for a weaker consumer. So let's pop over here to ES. Let's look at a 15-minute chart. There's good data. That's right. At 8:30, stocks just went up. They went up more, and then they went up more. Wow. Yes, wow. Stocks seem pretty happy. Exactly. So people are shaking off the fears of recession. And if we're currently back inside a yellow light, this also means that the S&P, the NASDAQ, and a lot of other stocks are actually flat on the month. Let's go here to SPY. That's right, they're actually green. The S&P is up by $2 or 0.5%. Let's look at QQQ. Wow, it's at the high of the month, and it's up by $3.35 or 0.7%. Look at that. Nice failed breakdown. Oh my goodness. Are these bulls back? Well, we're going to have to undo the damage that the bears created, which basically means we need to not let them get further than here. They printed a one lower low. Oh my goodness, they got it right. Yeah, can't deny that. They cranked the chart lower. If it's going to be a one and done, like the previous 1 month decline, this is what we want to watch for. We don't want to close the month below last month's low. That's at 537, which means we actually have a bit of a cushion. We're now into the second half of the month. And remember, Nvidia reports on the 28th. That's likely going to be really important. So the further we can push off from 537 just means if we dip, we now have a safety of margin. That's really important. If we look at the 50-day chart as well, actually, let me just finish off the rest of the news here. So let me just get this all done. We talked about that, talked about the green lights. Hey, here we go. I said do nothing. What happened? Hey, market went up. We're green on the month. What does that mean? You shouldn't do anything. If you are scared when the best companies in the world or the S&P go on sale, you probably should have known them because the stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. And even Buffett made a few moves. We'll talk about this on the stream tomorrow. We can also note that he did actually rotate a little bit. So he trimmed a lot of his big stocks, but he did buy a few others. All right, so now let's go back here to these notes and let's try to round the video out. So if we look here to the S&P, breakout of the pennant or the blue triangle, a gap fill would now be a back test of the 50 DMA. What does that mean? It means that yesterday's high, which is at 544.96, let's call it 545. If we back test and fill the gap, that should be a bounce on the 50 DMA. That's different than QQQ, which actually still has a gap below. So now we're trending up. We can see that here with the uptrend. We do have gaps to the upside, but we have a gap to the downside. If we can close 2 days back above the 50 DMA, hey, I'm going to feel a lot better. This would look like capitulation volume here. And the weekly charts look great. I'm not going to deny. All right. So now we're set for one daily close back above the 50 DMA, and there is potential for a trend change back above the short-term price. By definition is what the blue line is, or the 50 MA. For QQQ, now it's a matter of whether we go for more, close above the 50 DMA, which we did, or if we reject here. So looking at QQQ, at least for right now, like the margin here to the 50 DMA is not huge, but hey, these bulls showed up, they punched it higher, and frankly, they're doing it. So if we think about all these ETFs like XLG, RSPT, and a lot of other names joining the one candle close back above the 50 DMA, if now they can get two in a row, the market might actually be turning. That might have been the bottom. People might not realize it. But if we go back to here, looking at the VIX, oh my goodness, we're back down to 15. That's right. Remember how we talked about, is it going to be 2000, 2008, 2020, or 1995? Yes, I hope you did. It's looking like it's 1995. My confidence is building. So with that said, watch the video on the left or subscribe in the right, and I'll see you at 9:15 a.m. tomorrow. Thanks so much.